I'm the CTO at YellowDog. In this video, I want to give you a quick overview of our platform and how we can use it to very quickly and efficiently render content, digital media content, and hybrid, on-premise, in the cloud. I'm going to go over our platform and I'm going to show you an example of rendering content and some of the scene files that are used to create it, the tasks that will fulfill it, and how we bring it all together, and we can even add a composition stage at the end of the video. So, let's go to our demo application. This is really just a front end. It's here to demonstrate how you could integrate into your own pipelines, into your own front ends, the YellowDog platform. This is a definition of the demo that we're about to run. In it you can see that we're referencing a template in the YellowDog platform. So this defines the compute that we want to run our demo on, and it could be a mixture of cloud computing, on-premise computing, or a hybrid mixture of all of those. What we're going to do with that compute then is configure it for our usage. What we're doing here is installing some task types, installing the YellowDog agent, and critically for this demo we're installing Blender. And if you take a look at that Blender install script, we're doing a couple of key things. We're configuring the NVIDIA repository so that we can install the GPU drivers for that device. We're installing any required packages. For the purposes of this demo, those are the CUDA drivers, unzip, and FFmpeg, which we're going to use at the end of the demo to composite all of the rendered frames into a simple preview video. We also install the YellowDog agent, and finally we're going to go and pull from Blender themselves one of their test scenes that they use. And the test scene we're using is called My Name is Amy. You might be familiar with it. So just to give you an example of what we're going to get is the rendered video. So let's go ahead and start the rendering. So the first phase of that is to, for the purposes of this demonstration, what I'm going to do here is hit create new cloud worker pool. That's sending a request to the YellowDog platform to provision compute, and that's going to run through all the steps I just showed you previously. So it's going to install the task types, install the repositories, and configure them so that they're ready for Blender. So if we go over to the YellowDog platform now, take a look at our compute, we can see there's a new compute requirement here in the provisioning state, and it has a single GPU instance. Now, I'm going to try and make this run a bit more quickly. So I'm going to go into edit, and I'm going to say that I want more than one instance. And actually for the purposes of this demo, I'm going to say 5. Now we may not get that based on capacity, availability in the cloud provider, based on the cloud limits that we have in place, but we'll see what happens. So you'll see the UI updates, and you'll notice here this is a what's called a waterfall compute template, and we're able to pull resources from 4 different provider regions. So we've got a couple of errors there, and that's okay. Those are actually responses from the provider themselves telling us that we're not able to get everything that we'd hoped for. See that because we have a waterfall provisioning strategy, what we're first trying to do is gather instances from EU West 2, US East 1, and then US 2 again. And the difference between these two, which look similar on the surface, is that one is a spot request and one is an on-demand request. So we're not able to get anything from spot, but we are able to get them from on-demand. So you see we've got 5 instances provisioning now. Just clear that message. So now that compute's provisioned, and we can confirm that by going to the AWS console and confirming in our instances list in EUS 2 we've got 5 GPU instances available. We can now go back to our demo interface and we can submit some work to be rendered. So I'm going to tell it the frame range I'd like to see, and because this is a demo I'm going to go for the full range, starting on 1 and ending on 300, and I'm going to submit that work requirement. So what it's also doing is uploading some of the scene files, and you can see that's now done. So I'm going to go back to the YellowDog interface and show you in the work interface that we've now got a work requirement which is in the running state. So what this means is that work's been submitted and it's now queued and it will shortly start. If we take a look down below at the structure of this work requirement, you can see that what we've got, what's called 2 task groups. So one of them has 300 tasks in it. They're all pending state at the minute. And that relates to the 300 frames we've just requested to be rendered. And then we've got a second task group down below, which is called FFmpeg create video. That's got a single task in it, because what that's going to do is pull all the rendered frames once they're complete and render them into a preview video that we can watch. So what we're going to do now is wait for these frames to render, and then we're going to come back and take a look at the final composition step and the output. And you can see as these frames are rendering, they're going to transition through, show that they're executing. That means it's currently rendering on the instance. Because we've got 5 workers, 5 compute instances provisioned. You see here, we will also have 5 workers in the worker pool, which we can take a look at as well. You'll see these are waking up. We take a look back at the work, you'll see that. So if we go and take a look back at the workers, you'll see now summary at the top that we've got 5 workers and they're all currently doing tasks, which is great. It's exactly what we want. We want to see really good utilization of those instances. Quickly go back to the work and you'll see we're making good progress. So we're 10 tasks done out of the 300 already. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to fast forward until this is done, because I want to show you the interesting bit at the end. So the key takeaway there, this is a very dynamic system. You can submit work to be completed and you can dynamically provision, deprovision and apply compute based on the pool availability that you've got to fulfill that work as your requirements and as your availability changes over time. Something I'd like to show you whilst this job is progressing is that if you come down into the work view, you'll get a list of all the individual tasks as they're being completed. You can take a look at these tasks. We take a look at the summary here, and what we can see are some of the objects related to this. If we dig into that, so these are the various frames within this work requirements object folder. If we take a look at one of these, for example, you can see there's two pieces of content in there. There's the actual rendered output, so we can take a look at that, and we'll get a little preview here within the YellowDog UI. So that's really useful just for checking that the job's correct and that the content is rendering as you'd expect. And also you can take a look at the task output. So where you've got issues with your rendering, you can take a look here and see the direct output that you're getting from the render applications. It's really useful for debugging and so on. So there we go, that's just completing now. 2 tasks remaining. So we've rendered 300 frames in just under half an hour. That's pretty cool. We could have gone faster if we'd put more compute against this, and obviously that's something that you have as an option. If we take a look down, you'll see that as the 300 frames complete now, what's going to happen is that the progress on that's now completed. So we take a look at the final task group. As we said, we've just got one single task there, which is just to produce a composite preview video of all of that rendering. What's going to happen is that as that's just a single task, that's just going to get allocated to one of the nodes in the pool, and we're going to see that complete, and then we take a look at the video and review what we've done. So there it is. You can see that this task is now in a running state as well. Just out of interest, what you can see here is we're defining the inputs and the outputs for this task, and you'll see that what we've got for inputs are the full set of rendered frames and a script that's going to help us actually composite that, which really is just going to call out to FFmpeg to pull those together. And you can see that the output is going to be a single video file called Amy. And that's now complete. So again, if we take a look into the object output for that task, you'll see create video, and you'll see we've got a single video file called Amy. We can't preview that one, but we can download it. There it is. That's 300 frames rendered and composited into a single preview video. So that work's now done. So what I'm actually going to do is go back to the launcher demo application. What we did here is provision compute. We submitted some work and we defined some properties around that cloud compute so that as they become idle when the work's finished, they will after a short period of time, which is configurable, eventually terminate themselves, so that you've got very good cost profile matching to your workload. What we can do though as well, given that we know this is finished, we can just hit shut down on those worker pools there directly. You can either do it in the demo application, or if you see this is the portal, we can go direct to that. So we can go direct to the compute pools themselves. Go to the worker pool. You can find that. We see it's idle because it's now finished doing all of its work, and we can shut that worker pool down here and terminate immediately. That's done. So let's summarize what we've seen in this video. I've shown you how you can use the power of the YellowDog platform to provision compute in the cloud and to bring your on-premise compute and unify that into one large available pool of workers that can fulfill your workloads, also managed through the platform. In this demo, we've seen the submission of a workload, which is a render application using the open source Blender application. And we've rendered 300 frames, and we created a pipeline that enabled us to also at the end produce a preview video of that output. And at the end, we terminated the compute so that our cost profile went down to 0. I suggest taking a look if you want to learn more at the YellowDog website, yellowdog.co. We've got some other really good use cases and case studies on there. Apart from that, thanks for watching.